Good afternoon, poets, and it's such a pleasure to welcome all of you on this auspicious day of honoring not only you as a poet, but your wonderful poems. And I'm Elise Kazanjian, and I will be the MC for this event today. And first, I'd like to introduce the woman who made all of this possible. That's Eileen Malone, who is the founder and director of this yearly competition, and she'll give us a history of the Soul Making Keats literary competition. Eileen, if you'd like to take over.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've spoken at so many venues and in so many different ways about the contest that I think best I read you the message that I posted on our website and that I'm going to share with all of you now. And I will also keep this information out there because it's with a heavy heart that I am announcing the retirement of the Soul Making Keats literary competition. And I too will be retiring and gearing up for the next chapter of my life, which will include my family and my writing. Note that we will no longer be accepting entries. However, our website will remain online throughout 2023. So you can still send people there. As founder and director, I've worked with many outstanding movers and shakers, and am deeply grateful for the opportunity to spend the last 30 years learning from amazing judges and sponsors and entrants, especially those who trusted us with their creative efforts, and the widest range of supporters, those who passed through and those who stayed with us for the long haul. I want every single one of you to know that the quality, effort, and soul you all put into participating with grace and gusto cannot ever be replaced. I wish you all farewell and Godspeed, and hope that you will continue to impact society with your great enthusiasm. Your legacy lives on.
Thank you. Yes, that was wonderful. I am unmuted, I think. So thanks, Eileen, for all of the myriad ways you've kept this wonderful competition going. And we're sad to see it coming to an end, but we wish you well in your retirement and also wish you well in all the future projects that you take on. Next, I'll be introducing the judges of each category who will introduce the winners. And regretfully, the honorable mention winners will not read today. That's a decision we made based on the parameters of time. Please, but you can always look at the winners that are listed on the website, soulmakingcontest.us, and you can check the lists there. That will be on for quite a while. Lynn Grellas is the judge of the young adult poetry category. Lynn, I'll call on you next.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Elise. It's my pleasure to be here today, and I really enjoyed this category, especially because I just went back to school last couple of years and got my MFA, so I'm familiar with being in school again. And I'm also working with the high schoolers in my area for the Youth Poet Laureate program, so I enjoyed doing this contest quite a bit. So the honorable mentions in this category were Jane Lee of Saratoga for Gifts, Freedom Strange of Waco, Texas for Lime and Bleach, Jane Lee of Saratoga for Epiphany, and Freedom Strange again of Waco for Lost in Space. And the prize winners, third prize goes to Aarohi Goel of San Jose for the poem Awakening. Aarohi, do you want to go ahead and read your poem?
Hi, thank you. Sorry, I haven't prepared any words for it, but Awakening. After 16 hours by plane, I reach India, the land of my heritage, my uncle's home lying north, where hardy flowers thrive through sidewalk cracks and adorn the grand glass gate welcoming me for my visit. Greeting my aunt at the open door, I feel a moment of calm. The spicy aroma of grandmother's cooking floats to the porch. Where we three stand, balmy breezes blow our hair and ruffle feathers of a choir of doves perched on the telephone line. Here, memories rise of racing cousins to the ice cream stand, of dancing lighthearted in warm summer rain, and of marveling at each brilliant sunset from our rooftop when I abide in the motherland just once a year. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Aarohi. Thank you. Congratulations. A second prize or second place is to Avik Belenje of Saratoga for the poem Copper, but unfortunately they are not here today to read their poem. So we'll go right to first place for Jane Lee of Saratoga for the poem Evolving. Jane?
Yeah. Written in the form of a Shakespearean sonnet, Evolving describes my journey in discovering the beauty of poetry and becoming an avid poet throughout the years. Evolving. A year ago, I filled my world with books and paint. Yet now, I feel surprised to find so many poems taking root in nooks, warming my home and heart, my soul and mind. While chapters of prose will soon become paper leaves bearing dewy sonnet sprites, and odes, tercets, quatrains, with more to come, a poet's life newborn in summer's sunlight. True logs of poems written on my own by masters moved to try my hand at rhyme, and free verse too, all by myself I've grown, my pen gliding on thin blue lines through time. A year ago, life brimmed with prose and paint. Today, poems cascade without restraint. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. That was lovely. Thank you, Elise.
Thank you, Carolyn, and all of the fine poets, the young poets. Maw Shein Win is the judge of the poetry category. So Maw, would you like to take over?
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, Elise. My name is Maw Shein Win, and it was truly an honor to be the judge for the Janice Farrell poetry category for the contest this year. And thanks so much to Eileen and to everyone for all their amazing work over the years. I also want to thank everyone who submitted their poetry this year. And I must say it was an enjoyable challenge as we received so many strong submissions. Now I'd like to share my 2022 honorable mentions. Jill R. Berkey for Beginning Mind. John Rowe for An Unknown Search. Tobey Hiller for When I Lie Down in the Woods. Angie Minkin for After Listening to Mary Oliver on a Podcast. Abby Kaplan for Blue Year. Robert Eastwood for Rivalry, Deer and Trees. Ellen Romano for The Night Yard. Jessica Cohn for Projection. Tobey Hiller for Against Dread, What I Mean Is. Corey Weinstein for Ghosts. Congratulations. Let's give a hand for all these marvelous poets. And now I would like to introduce the third prize winner, Nancy Beauregard for We Don't Speak of the Dying. Nancy?
Thank you. Let me pull up my thing. Okay. So just a little background on this particular poem was published last year in the Santa Fe Literary Review and was nominated for a pushcart. And this is about one of my best friends who died during the pandemic. We don't speak of the dying, who sits between us, cross-legged on the floor, munches buttered popcorn, drinks gallons of syrupy soda, watches soap operas. Don't look at him. Don't mention the smell that permeates from his hair, clothes. I stay silent, sit on the edge, a half-empty wicker chair, where canvas totes, books are piled. Observe this dying, killing you. Cringe as skin sinks against jawline, hollows knees, shin bones, worse than it did a week ago. Can I cook you something? Spaghetti, eggs and bacon, sweet potato soup? Even as I ask, I know you can only eat broth, mushed bananas. I glance at prescription bottles, listen to frustrations, hospice, morphine, diapers, no energy to walk, play with your dog. I hear pain, sense hands that grab, squeeze from the alien that grows inside you. We don't speak of the dying, who sits between us, not interested in our conversation, opens freezer drawers, reaches for ice cream, grabs a spoon off your end table on the way back to the TV. We talk about the books you're reading, reruns of Star Trek, The Next Generation, the saga of Anne of Green Gables that you watch on DVDs over and over again, the screenplay you hope to finish before you go. When there are no words, books, movies to discuss, the light outside fades. You fade back into a garden of basil and rosemary patterns. The cushions on the couch tuck you in for the night. I stand, trip over the dog's water bowl, place my hand on the wall to break my fall, touch a portrait, one of 2 horses you had to give away. Hear the gallop of a broken heart as I run my hand across an empty saddle.
Thanks so much, Nancy, for that strong reading. Thank you. Our second prize winner is Jenny Chi for Take This Body. Jenny?
Thank you so much, Maw. Thank you, everyone. This poem was written when I was participating in the Interdisciplinary Writers Lab, which is a program run by Kearney Street Workshop in San Francisco for emerging BIPOC writers. And this is in the form of a ghazal, which is an Arabic form that employs repetition to explore like a topic of obsession or interest. So take this body. There are 30 trillion cells birthed from the first ancestral cell in this body. Every single cell has inherited the same instructions for mapping this body. What is it like to move about the world without feeling weight? Every choice, not choice, heavy with millennia of blood, blades, flesh trapping this body. When I was 5, a boy brought a model heart to show and tell. Blue beads rattled against plastic veins. My heart pumps blue blood in wrapping this body. Once I was a child in the library, a man stooped to ask for help finding books. When my mother found me, I felt the newness of danger overlapping this body. How many times did I look in the mirror, pinch flab on my arms, my hips, even my eyelids, count my inheritance, measure shames racking this body? I used to run at night when I boiled over, tried my best to run past fear, past grief, past rage, past nerves, past me running circles, battling this body. When I was 20, I went to the hospital weak with fever. That week, a machine breathed for me. I was a machine overheating, lost sapping this body. Asked about my relationship with food, I talk about my mother, blood, waste, a poem. I have no words except others for what's handicapping this body. I spent a week in the mountains. I never feel belonging, but they remind me they belong to no one. For millennia, they will keep surpassing this body. American media has popularized qi as the Chinese word for breath, also a homophone for rage, for beginning, for the mountains held within this body.
Thank you for that beautiful poem, Jenny. Thank you. And now I'd like to present our first prize winner, Carole Tiebout, for Water and Straw. Carole?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone who put in literally decades worth of work to create this competition. And for me, a particular thanks to Kathleen, who told me about it when I met her at the Watts conference a number of years ago now. But thank you for that. This is a pantoum, and it's called Water and Straw. I'd been walking the floor of the ocean all night, mapping the terrain with the soles of my feet, the current's direction as it moved through my hair. At dawn, I rose, the weight of me unearthly. Mapping the terrain with the soles of my feet, I saw you standing in the orchard. At dawn, I rose, the weight of me unearthly. Water poured from my ears, pooling on the hardwood floor. I saw you standing in the orchard, a red whelp of apples circling you like a rising crown. Water poured from my ears, pooling on the hardwood floor as I made myself lift against gravity. A whelp of red apples circled you like a slipped crown. Water poured from my ears, pooling on the hardwood floor as I made myself lift against gravity. A whelp of red apples circled you like a slipped crown. You were back in that place where you do not know who you are. I made myself lift against gravity, let the earth pull me into place. You were back in that place where you do not know who you are. I thought I should call you into the house, to the room with its four walls, let the earth pull you into place while the birds ladled their song into the morning. I thought I should call you into the house, to the room with its four walls you knew inside and out, bend you into its container. The birds ladled their song into the morning as I walked myself forward towards the tasks of the day. You knew it inside and out, bent yourself into its container, let it smooth your wilding eyes with its shielded windows. I walked myself into the tasks of the day, its square root rhythms, its amnesia about the morning star. You let it smooth your wilding eyes with its shielded windows. Let the sun sifting its yellow through the curtains bring you home, walk you into its square root rhythms, its amnesia about the morning star. I left, drove a car, turned corners, purchased a straw broom. You let the sun sifting its yellow through the curtains bring you home. I heard chainsaws, barking dogs, smelled the undercurrents of damp roots. I drove a car, turned corners, purchased a straw broom, and later I swept the house clean.
Thank you so much, Carole. And let's give a warm round of applause to all of the poets and their outstanding work. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Maw, and thank you to the poets in your category. Those were profound poems, like all of them. Sorry about that. Ellen Woods and I are co-judges of the Prose Poem category, and we've been doing that for the last 3 years and enjoying it tremendously. And the prose poem is a unique form. It is a poem, but it looks like prose with no line breaks. It tells a story. It's a poetic way of telling a story. So we were really excited to read so many outstanding poems and this year, and had a hard time arriving at choosing the winners. But we finally agreed on the following winners. I'm going to read the names of the honorable mentions first, and then I'll introduce the readers for the first, second, and third prize winners. The honorable mentions are in alphabetical order. It's Nancy Beauregard for A Dog Named Lily, Karen McCafferty for A Field of Moss, Robin Michelle for An Arrow Sting Stirring a Joyful Remembrance, and Louise Moises for Discovery. Their congratulations, and let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And now our third prize winner is Lynda Rocca, who will read Prose Poem from My Panic. Lynda, is she here?
I'm here, yes.
Oh, good. Wait, sorry, Lynda.
No, that's fine. Hi, everyone, and I am really honored to be here today. And I really love this contest. I'm sorry to see it go, but I understand, you know, all good things must come to an end. So my prose poem is based on something that really happened to me in a poetry workshop several years ago. It's called Prose Poem from My Panic. I'm in a room with 24 other poets, and we've just been told to write a prose poem. Everyone is writing, except me, because I'm looking at everybody else writing their prose poem and thinking, how did they get good ideas so fast? How can they write so quickly? No one else is looking, and damn, I want to be a slick, smooth, sparkly prose poem writer too, with words that slide across the page like hot pink. No, make that coral silk. I want to write with purple ink. No, make that lavender. No, lilac, spurting so I can't keep up. I want to write something so wonderful that it will puff into gray smoke if I don't capture it right now. Instead, I stare around the room, then bend my head and sketch crosshatch lines down my notebook page, another page. Now I'm thinking, well, the workshop leader doesn't know that I exist, yet she may catch a glimpse of somebody, who's me, and nod approvingly, though I won't see because I'm concentrating with my downcast, cross-hatched eyes. But maybe this will make her think, oh yes, that one is deep. Thank you.
That was great, Lynda. Thank you so much. We can all relate to that. I've been there so many times, I can't tell you. And so I love the emotions that you expressed in that poem. Our second prize winner is Nancy Beauregard, who will read Isabella. Nancy?
Yes, thank you. And I also want to thank you for this wonderful, wonderful contest that you're doing. I've never seen it before. This was my first time, and I'm a bit sad that it's not going to continue, but I can tell that all of you have done so much work with it. Thank you again. Okay. Okay, this poem is called Isabella, which was published by Duckhead Journal. And I have a connection with insects. Most of my poetry works with nature and my connection with insects themselves. Isabella. It is with a heavy heart that we, the caretakers of the overgrown courtyard, announce the passing of Isabella, also known as Arrhenius gemoides. On this day in late October, when the aspen trees have turned a crisp golden yellow, and the lilac leaves are curling in for the long sleep of winter. Isabella will be remembered as an eccentric soul who did not like to be called the cat lady. In fact, she did not like cats one little bit, or dogs that barked, or whip-tailed lizards that hung out like prostitutes on the adobe walls under yellow porch lights, or fanatical praying mantises who tooted their Bibles, since she was an agnostic at heart. Isabella had many hobbies, like weaving on the loom and knitting mummies for Halloween. She held a bachelor's degree from the prestigious L'Etoile Culinary School and was a bona fide foodie who enjoyed cotton candy spun aphids, fly kebabs, and the occasional lover for dessert. Isabella leaves behind hundreds of children in a crowded egg sac that will not hatch until spring. They will balloon on silk threads to faraway places, but a few, like their mother, will call this place home.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Nancy. And it was delightful when we read the poem, to find out who Isabella really was. And now our first prize winner is Sandra Anfang, who will read The New Roma Garden. Sandy?
Thank you, Elise. Thank
Sure.
you, everyone. I've been part of this contest for the last 3 years, and it's been so much fun. Thanks to Eileen for all your work, Elise and Ellen for judging, and Steve for running tech, and Kathleen too. Everyone, what a great contest. The New Roma Garden. I hear my father's key in the lock, my taste buds jiving like jumping beans. Mom has eschewed our dinner plates for paper ones. I track the Impala's engine ticking off, my father's leather sole slapping the flagstone path. The pizza announces itself. Scrawled diagonally across the tops of 2 large boxes, blue cursive trumpets, the New Roma Garden. The slices are huge and peppery, heaped with pepperoni and sausage. Cheese tendrils tether me to each wedge as I hold them high and funnel their mana into my mouth. My sisters rip foil packets of pepper flakes, but I avoid these, reaching for Parmesan instead. We tear through the pies like raccoons through park trash cans. When the last slice has vanished, I scrape my fingernails over the ribbed cardboard, mining forgotten morsels. I clean the plastic pizza saver with my tongue and tuck it in my pocket, a fitting dollhouse table. Ignoring the burnt spot on the roof of my mouth, a funny blob of swollen skin suspended like a mirrored ball, I savor my parents' complicity in the breaking of the kosher laws, their willful invitation of treif into our house of covenants.
That was lovely. Thank you so much. And I loved your treasured memory of family life. So let's give a hearty round of applause to all of our winners and their stunning poems. And now I'd like to call on Kathleen McClung, who is the judge for the sonnet category, and she'll introduce her category. She'll read the names of the honorable mentions, and she'll introduce her readers. Kathleen?
Thank you so much, Elise, and thank you to all of the people on this team for putting together this event today. And thank you to Eileen Malone for founding and directing this contest for 30 years. It's such an accomplishment, and she has assisted in the growth of so many hundreds, if not thousands, of writers across the country. So hats off to you, Eileen. Have a wonderful retirement. We will be cheering you on as you focus on your writing in coming years. I'm so sorry I have a bit of a cold and my voice is froggier than usual, but listening to the poems that have been read so far is just wonderful medicine, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else than right here, right now. I'm really delighted to share with you the honorable mentions in Sonnet, and then the 3 prize winners in Sonnet. I love reading, writing, talking about the form of the sonnet. And I love seeing the entries every year. I will really miss reading the sonnet entries moving forward. Let me first of all congratulate the 6 honorable mentions in sonnet. And they are Angie Minkin for Song of Myself as I Listen to Rhapsody in Blue, Eleanor Channel for Flight of Swallows, Gail White for The Old Lover's Message to the Young, Diane Lee Moomey for Stairs, Wendy Vidalock for Lost Poet on the Western Slope, and Robin Michel for Sonnet of Apology After a Difficult Week. So congrats to all of those honorable mentions in sonnets. And now I have the great pleasure of introducing someone I've had the also great pleasure of meeting in person, and that is our 3rd prize winner for sonnet, Erica Reid from Fort Collins, Colorado, for her poem, Smash Room. Erica.
Thank you. Like so many of you, Kathleen turned me on to this contest, and I'm so glad to have snuck in just at the end to have gotten to be a part of this lineage. And even more honored to have my sonnet chosen for third prize. This is a sonnet in the tradition of A.E. Stallings' Cat's Cradle sonnets, where all 7 sets of rhymes are in the poem. They're just a little bit mixed up and challenging to hear. And it's about, as you'll hear, a smash room. If you haven't been to these, they're also called rage rooms, where you go to smash plates and get your frustrations on the world out. I went with some girlfriends, and it was a good time. Smash room. Our text thread pings, cajoling me to join a hen night at the trendy local spot where, for a fee, with safety gloves and specs, we're welcome to destroy a room of junk. Staff stocks the space for us. Discarded trunks, old printers, vacuum cleaners long past work, glass bottles, vases, mugs, a rocking chair. I find a plate in my old china pattern and hurl it with an unbecoming joy. We crank house music loud, annoy the clerk, and pose as we destroy cheap dinnerware, then tag our cheeky photos hard hat hot. The whole thing's orgiastic, ersatz sex, but it will do. Sometimes a girl must shatter. Thank you.
Bravas to you, Erica. What a great poem. That poem just really amazes me and energizes me and delights me. So thank you so much. I'd like to next introduce the second prize winner in Sonnet, whose work I have admired for so many years, and I am so pleased to award second prize to Robert Eastwood of San Ramon, California, for his beautiful poem, Daughter. Robert?
Thank you, Kathleen, and thank you, Eileen, for all your years of encouraging and supporting poetry. You've left a legacy that is so admirable. Thanks again. As the only male face on the screen today, other than Keats himself, I'll assume his pose while I read my poem. We have 4 children, two boys, 2 girls. This poem is about our youngest daughter. That time at a campground when I threw her to roll over a huge rubber ball, too blasé to feel her terror. A mountain it must have seemed. She rolled over and down. I wanted a thrill for her, something I thought joy. Tossed, rolling from a cloud. She broke her arm. How fragile at 5 or 6, given my stupid hands. There are many times I regret the summer I clamped the camper on her finger, let it fall without checking. Busy to see her play her flute, showing herself unique and intelligence becoming. I went on, so careless of her, entrenched, making my way. Now I paint her in my mind, holding that striped ball, her little body, yellow sunsuit, green summer. I can hardly hold the brush.
Thank you so much, Robert. What a moving poem. That poem just really touches me deeply. Thank you very, very much. And I'm very honored to introduce to you the first prize winner in the sonnet category. This is also a poet and writer whose work I have admired for many years and know very well. And I do have to say, we read blind, so all of these poems were selected based on the absolute beauty and stunning craftspersonship. And so this is a beautiful craftsperson work by Tobey Hiller of San Rafael, California, who'll be reading A Walk in the High Country. Tobey.
Thank you, Kathleen. And thank you, Eileen and all the other people who have made this possible. It just takes such an amazing amount of work to put on each of these things and to do all the choosing. And although I'm late to this contest, I see that for many years it has been really important in the legacy of the poetry community here and even nationally. And Robert, I want to say that that was a very moving sonnet, almost cried myself. So this is called, and it happens also to be about a parent talking about a child. So it's called A Walk in the High Country. What matters? Is it still the moon, the spider fingers of the pine against skies blue? This incline where the granite boulder hides the cup of cool its morning shadow drew? A moment's hum and footfall reverie tell silence how to listen for no answer. All matters made of melt, that windy story, mixing dust of stars and chance's clatter. What happens here, rhythm of branch and sky, up and down of hills, brown of fall's desiccate plants, plunge of air into valley's open eye, deep iris shining there of mountain lake. What matters here, our quiet walk, my grown son's easy presence up ahead, beloved Cohen. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Tobey. Thank you so much for that gorgeous poem. Absolutely beautiful poem, very moving and lyrical. Thank you so much. Let's give one more round of applause to all of the winners and honorable mentions in the sonnet category. I was so proud to read these poems. Thank you all. Back to you, Elise.
Okay, thank you so much, Kathleen. And I'd also like to ditto that about all the poets that we heard from today. It was to listen to all of your stunning poems. It was really a lovely, lovely hour or close to an hour that we've spent together. This concludes the poetry section of our awards ceremony. And before I invite all of you to stay zoomed in for a short 10-minute meet and greet, I'd also like to thank Eileen for the opportunity that for Ellen and I to be the co-judges of the prose poem category. As I said, I will miss doing that, but I do wish Eileen much success in all of her future adventures. So if you can all stay on Zoom, it would be great, and we'll go immediately afterwards to a meet and greet session. So my words to everybody and myself is keep writing.